everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point. Afterthoughts after the show. And I have not done one of these in probably almost a year. I used to do them all the time. Last year, where it was basically shows that I didn't recap, but I saw something interesting about them and wanted to talk about them. So I'm going to go ahead and do one of these for you guys. And what will we start with? You guys already know that Being Mary Jane was canceled by BET, which I still cannot believe. And because it really did. We didn't know if it was going to get better, as time went on, after the creators, Mara Brock and her husband, Mara Brock Akil, and her husband left the show. We were like, oh, we don't know how this is going to work out. But it did eventually pick up and get better. And then I was just so shocked that it was canceled. And then I started thinking back to the lawsuit, because you guys remember Gabrielle Union actually filed a lawsuit against the production because her contract was for like 10 episodes or something. And then they doubled the number of episodes. So she only got paid, I can't remember if she got paid for the season or if she got paid by I think she got paid by the season, but the season was typically 10 episodes, and then they ordered like 20 or 22 episodes, and so she was suing them, saying that they were trying to like get 2 seasons out of her without paying her any extra money, and that she was concerned that they were trying to do this because they were going to cancel the show, and lo and behold, the show was canceled. And they keep claiming that they're going to come out with a 2-hour movie to kind of wrap everything up and tie up any loose ends. And so in the beginning, they said the movie was coming out in January. Then they said the movie was coming out in the spring. Now they're saying that the movie's going to come out in September. So I got a feeling we ain't going to get no movie to wrap up Being Mary Jane. So then they came out with this show called Rebel. Rebel was horrible. So with Rebel, I don't think Rebel's coming back. We ain't heard nothing else about Rebel because that show was terrible and it don't need to come back. Then they bring us The Quad. And The Quad, I really liked The Quad, and I was recapping The Quad, but then kind of like in the middle of the season, it kind of lost its luster for me. And you guys know that I'm in school in my master's program, and I just have a whole lot of stuff to be concentrating on. So some of these shows, sort of like To Rome for Love, I started recapping that. But if it wasn't holding my interest, I said I wasn't going to keep, recapping the shows if I'm not even interested in them. But I kept watching The Quad, and, after about 2 or 3 kind of dead episodes, it did pick up, and the last 3 episodes were pretty good. The season finale was kind of odd. They were trying to tell a story or prove a point, and they set, most of the season was based on the Georgia University system trying to take over the Atlanta, whatever GAMU is, Georgia Agricultural and Marine University. So they had a school, Atlanta University. At first they was called the Georgia University, but then I guess they changed it to Atlanta University, which was like a predominantly white institution that was trying to take over GAMU, the historically black university. And they were fighting that, they wanted to stand on their own and they didn't want to lose their identity. And they were trying to get money because the university, like most HBCUs, is in really bad shape financially. They're usually very behind on technology, and I don't have to go into the whole story because I told y'all I have a daughter that graduated from a PWI, and I have actually my oldest daughter didn't graduate from PWI. She graduated from a very diverse university that probably caters more to Hispanic people, but very good university. My youngest daughter graduated from a HBCU, and just the comparison, and then I graduated from PWI. So just the position of all 3 universities together, the HBCU was very, very, it was an experience and it was a challenge. But they were offering her a free full ride, so I said, go and get that education, girl. I ain't gonna complain about that. But if I had it to do over again, and it was actually my money that I was spending on her education, she would not have been at that HBCU past semester number one when I saw just how behind they are. And I think that the reason people love HBCUs so much is because they care about the students. The students don't get lost in the system. The students, when they're going through stuff, you ain't got to be worried because there's a teacher or somebody that's looking out for them, and they're going to see about them, and they're going to call you. And with the regular university, PWIs, like, you have no rights as a parent. You can't know the grades. You can't know the financial situation until it's too late, because your child didn't tell you. But at the HBCUs, they're going to let you know. Now, if your child is failing, you might want to come get her, take her home for a semester or whatever's going on. But anyway, they were fighting, and so there was this piece of land that, was throughout the show that they were talking about in this building, this historic building that was named after the founder of the university. So the season finale ended with them burning that building down, and I was just like, that was just the craziest mess I've ever seen before. But I think what they were doing was trying to point out the fact about, in order to build something back up, you have to burn it down. You can't, like, just go in and try and change mentalities and thoughts. You have to burn down the whole foundation, the structure of what it is that you're trying to get rid of. So I was just like, there was a lot of things that were left open, ended, that they could have covered in the season finale, but they didn't. Well, we found out it's because they canceled the quad. I was just like, how do you get a show that's actually got young people engaging and, considering college and everything? And you guys might not remember, but when the show first debuted, presidents of HBCUs were trying to get the show stopped. And so I'm wondering if that had any impact on the decision to cancel the show, because they said it was showing HBCUs in a bad light, that's not what it's like. And I was sitting there saying, no, they're doing a pretty damn accurate portrayal of what an HBCU is on this show. But they were upset, so I'm thinking that probably played a part in it, for them canceling it. So the quad is gone. I can't believe it. Just really can't believe it. Then they started a new show called In Contempt. And now I'm kind of afraid to get invested in Contempt, because I don't want to be liking another show and then next year or the next season they decide, oh, well, we're going to pull it too without any reasoning. And back on the quad, I think they said that the ratings were low. And was it the quad I was looking at that they said only had 553,000 viewers? Because I was talking to somebody, because I took this class on mass media, because I received my minor in mass media communications, and one of the courses I had to take, we actually it was taught by a television executive. And he was basically teaching us about ratings and how there is no concrete way to come up with rating numbers, and that the whole Nielsen and the Nielsen black box is just such a fallacy, and that, because the boxes, the way they come up with the ratings is that they put boxes in people's homes. And then based on the number of boxes that register a particular television show, then they do like some mathematical equation to say that, 1 in 10 or 1 in 20 people in this demographic area, was probably watching that show based off, the boxes. But what they don't tell you is that the boxes are not representative of the racial demographic makeup of a community. And then he was saying how, so like say the Super Bowl, they sold all these ads for the Super Bowl, making all this money. So what they'll do for the Super Bowl is that they will go and take boxes out of homes that are probably less likely to watch the Super Bowl, and then go put them in other homes that are more likely to watch the Super Bowl to increase the numbers. And it's just a whole mess. And then it was saying that, the box registers what's showing on the television. So say you were watching a show and then you got up and went, to have a phone conversation, and then you never went back to the TV. So the box is basically rating everything that's coming on your TV, even though there's nobody watching the television. And in that same sense, say you have 5 televisions in your house and everybody in your house is watching the same show, but it's only going to register that show once because that's the box that the television was on. So, he was basically saying that it's just so fake. And like, if they ever figure out how to really, really count the number of people that are watching television shows on demand, on apps, after the fact, and because even those numbers aren't really true numbers, that it'll be a whole nother ball game. But right now, like a physical television, they really don't know how to count those ratings. And so I think for a TV station like BET, where you already don't have a huge viewership, 553,000 people watching a television show, I think, is probably equal to 2 million people watching a show on a regular network station, because they have far more viewers. So I just think there was some shenanigans going on behind the quad being canceled. I think it was more political than anything else. So In Contempt is a show about these young lawyers and prosecutors, and so it's like a courtroom show. Kind of put me in the mind of How to Get Away with Murder, except for the lawyers are actually in court having trials with real defendants and not basically out there being the criminals themselves, but just the energy of the show reminded me of How to Get Away with Murder. And I like the show. I mean, the season opener, the series opener, I thought was on point. It was very good. The acting was very good. The characters are likable. But I'm just so afraid to get vested in this show, to start reviewing the show, and then all of a sudden, damn show get canceled. I'm going to have a real big issue with that. And then BET got the nerve to be trying to do a remake of Hit the Floor. Remember Hit the Floor used to come on VH1. There was the show about the basketball players and the cheerleaders. And what's the little cute actress from Set It Off? Kimberly Elise. She was the mother of one of the cheerleaders, and then she was over the cheerleading group, and they had some murders going on. So it was very good on VH1. But they took the show off. Show been gone for about 2 years now, and now BET wants to bring it back. It looked like they're bringing it back with a whole new cast. So I'm not understanding why that's taking place. Like, why we got Hit the Floor, but y'all couldn't bring the quad back or bring Being Mary Jane back. So BET, I'm gonna need y'all to get it together. What other show? Oh, and then y'all know I love Southern Charm. The original Southern Charm. I didn't like the one that comes on, the South Carolina version, which was the original one. That is my show. They came out with a second one that was supposed to be in Savannah, Georgia. I didn't like that one. I gave up after like the second episode. Well, now they got a New Orleans franchise of the show, and honey, I am here for it. I will be recapping it. They got some characters on that show. They bring in the crazy that I like from the South Carolina, from the Charleston, South Carolina version of the show, but very diverse group. They're in New Orleans. I think the people that may have brought the franchise together is a TV reporter named Tamika Lee or Tamara Lee, and then her husband. But it's 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's 4 or 5 black guys on the show. I think Tamika and her husband may be the only like black couple. The other guys are either married to white women or women that could probably pass for white, because y'all know in New Orleans they have the mulattoes and you can't tell whether they black or white. And then the one black guy who's an artist, he is single, and then the other black guy, he has a girlfriend, and he wanted to move back in with his mama. And I says, Mama, if he could bring his girlfriend with him. I'm like, where they do that at? Like, 2 grown people, y'all can't get a place to live and pay y'all bills. You got to move in with your mama? Like, that is crazy. And then there's a football player, play for the New Orleans Saints, or he used to play for the New Orleans Saints. His name is Jeff something that begins with a B. But I think he might be like a drug addict or something. He might be addicted to pain pills, so he's probably not playing anymore. So him and his wife, they're a cute couple. I think I like all the characters. There's one person, I think her name is Reagan, who has a very annoying voice. But it kind of reminds me of one of the characters on the original show. So I don't know if she's trying too much to be like her, and that's why she's talking like that. The people in Twitter, on Twitter, it was either they loved the show or they hated the show and wasn't going to be watching it. Of course, the people from New Orleans hated the show because they was like, this isn't how people in New Orleans act. People in New Orleans don't go to Mardi Gras because they had the show basically talked about Mardi Gras, the whole show. And they were like, every time you hear the word Mardi Gras, take a drink. So people were clowning the show. But the ladies of the show, I guess they put a float, they have a foundation and they do a float every year. And then the guys hate Mardi Gras, but they have to go and wait for the women to come by to catch the beads or whatever to show them that they were there. But they all seem to have genuine friendships. Their camaraderie seems to be good. I like the energy of the show. So like I said, I will be watching and I will be recapping Southern Charm, New Orleans. Then we go over to Real Housewives of Potomac. I haven't recapped it yet because they came back with so much mess. Like they're all ganging up on Karen, because Karen and her husband are having tax problems and they're all in the blogs and on social media talking about Karen being fake and Karen being broke and why Karen didn't tell them what was going on. And so then Karen hosted a press conference where she was basically going to tell them, give them the opportunity to ask her questions. She was going to present the story, but then that all blew up when Ashley started asking her questions that she didn't think Ashley had a right to be asking her, and it was just a mess. And then last night, that girl, the one that's married to the football player that think her stuff don't stink and that they got the perfect marriage. And so, you don't want people's marriages to fall apart. But when you see her, just being so arrogant and carrying on that you sit there and say, yep, in about 2 years, you're going to be in the paper where you and your man Chris about to get a divorce. And so her and Robin got into it. And that was the other thing that annoyed me about the show was Robin and Juan have moved into a bigger place together instead of moving out. They upgrading. But what I did like about Juan was in the first episode, he told Robin that whatever is going on with Karen and her husband is none of their business, and that if she's Karen's friend, she'll be supportive and wait for Karen to come to her and talk to her about it. She wouldn't be with Giselle, being two-faced and talking about Karen behind her back. Oh, and then Ashley, Ashley, I guess her and her man, they then got back together, working their situation out. But Karen brought up the fact that he was out of the country somewhere, dating some other woman, and sent her a nude pic of him. And then she posted it on the internet, I guess after they broke up, to try and embarrass him. And then I guess, what's her name? Charlene. And then the one that was married to the guy, the Eddie Jordan guy, the one that never appeared on the show because he decided to stay in another, whatever state he was working in. She was on last night's episode, but I think she's left the cast. So I guess she'll just be like a friend of the show. But whatever, I don't know if it was contractual or what was going on, because Robin and Monique were arguing, and she was just standing there and she was just looking back and forth, but she would not say anything. And it really seemed like a protest scene, like, oh, y'all gonna make me film these episodes, but I'm not gonna give you anything. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm not gonna be a part of the dialogue. And so she just stood there looking back and forth. And so, Monique and Robin got into it because Monique was hosting a party for Chris's 40th birthday, but then she was coming at Robin, and then Monique and Ashley ganged up on Robin, for staying with Juan and telling her, that she needs to leave Juan, she needs to get on with her life. And I'm just like, whose business is it for you to be telling this woman? Like, I think Robin is stupid for staying in the relationship, but at the end of the day, I ain't got to live Robin's life. I can talk about Robin for these 5 minutes on this video, but that's her business. Like, I would never just go to a friend in a public space like that. You know, like if I was concerned, yeah, I might pull you to the side and talk to you and say, girl, I don't think this is a good look. You know, he's doing this, this, and this. You know, you really need to think some things over. But to be at a party and then all of a sudden have this conversation with somebody at a party, and then Monique would she would throw the rock and then want to jump up and run and scream about getting hit, you know. So I don't know, Real Housewives of Potomac has just really been annoying. And then Giselle in a relationship trying to get married again, but the man looked just like Jamal Bryant. And I was just like, does she have a type? What's up with that? And then they have this new character on there named Candace, I think her name is, and Candace is married to some white boy who's a professional athlete, and so that her and Monique seem to have the same spirit about them, where they just think they done hit the lotto and then they will throw it in everybody's face what they got. So I am pretty confident I won't be recapping Real Housewives of Potomac, and that is why. I think those were the only shows that I kind of like wanted to hit on, because they were shows that I've talked about before, and just to say, you know, where they're going with them. Can't think of anything else right now as far as shows that I like. So guys, you know, what shows are you excited about right now? What shows have you given up on? What shows do you wish they would reconsider canceling and bring back? Leave it in the comments and let me know. Rate the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.